All right, guys, welcome back for episode number 14 of our series where we are creating an entire app using Firebase, Flutter, and BLoC. And today's episode is going to be focusing on feeding the UI with the post that will be stored inside the database. So let's jump right into it. So remember, in the last video, we've actually created the entire backend functions to create a post and to display the post, and as well as created two new blocks, create post block as well as get post block. And so now we are going to start first with implementing the post creation so we can actually see it inside our Cloud Firestore project. And then once we can create a post, we will display the new post onto the UI, not those dummy posts, but the post actual posts. So let's go ahead and focus on creating a post. So what we want to do is navigate under the lib folder, screen, home, home screen. And here you want to navigate on the unpressed function of the floating action button that redirects us to a post screen, because we want to actually wrap our post screen right here with the block provider, okay, just like that, with the block provider of type create post block, create post block. We want to actually provide the post screen with this block itself, so we can actually create a post in the post screen. But it required a post repository that will be a Firebase post repository. No, not user, Firebase post repository, but we didn't imported it. Perhaps we didn't imported it. So let's navigate under the prospect.yaml file. Yes, we have imported that. So let's, perhaps it's post repository. Yeah, it's Firebase post repository. Let me check. Packages, post repository, lib source, Firebase user repository, Firebase post repository here. And if I'm trying to import that, let me try to import it manually. So we have imported it inside our create block right here. We already imported that. And if that doesn't work, I know where the problem is. Yeah, okay, so I know where the problem is. So we need to navigate under the post repository, and perhaps here under post repository, yes, we need to export source Firebase post repository and save that. And normally, if we close that, yes, everything's working perfect. So if I'm trying to refresh the app, apparently there is a problem here in the UUID. Let me try to refresh it. Import package. I don't know why he's doing that, but I think we can just ignore that for now. Yes, perfect. So now perhaps I will need to rebuild the app later on. So now we can navigate to our post screen, as you saw right here, with the new block provider of type create block post. Perhaps we can as well specify the type right here. Let me save that. And now we are go for creating a post. So navigate to the post screen now. Let me close that up for you. And now the goal is to actually create a post. So remember, we want to actually take the content of what's inside this text field and feed it up inside the post that we have right here. So what we want to do first is make sure we have a controller for our text field. So let's say access the controller parameter of our text field and set it to controller. And now we want to create this controller. So we're going to create it under here. So let's say text controller. It's not text controller, it's text editing controller, isn't it? It is text editing controller. So controller is equal to text controller. And you can either instantiate it right here, or you can instantiate it inside the init states, doesn't really matter. And now by having this controller right here on our floating action button, because here, let me show you what's happening right there. If I actually log our post dot to string, when we click on the button, you'd see that here, yeah, I need to rebuild the app. I'll be with you in just a second. All right, guys, sorry, I rebuilt the app and now everything is working. So as I was saying, if we navigate to the post screen now on the onPress method of the floating action button, if I clean that up and press again, you'd see that we have our post, okay? But now we need to feed him with the actual post, okay? So what we can say here is say set state, right? So our post dot, well, it's called post, but it's post content basically, is equal to our controller dot text, okay? And we can perhaps add a little check if the controller dot text dot length is, for instance, equal to 0, okay? Well, it's different than 0, so we can do that, okay? So that will just ensure that you can't have an empty post, and you can do a lot more validation onto the post itself, onto the text field itself, not by using a text field, but by using a text form field and accessing the validation a parameter of the text form field. But to keep it more easy, we'll just do something like this. So now if I move that under here, you'd see if I, and perhaps I can delete this log, I clear the console and I press that, you won't see anything because the length is not different than null. But if I hello there as a post and I press, you'd see that the post ID is still null. That's okay because we're dealing with this in the package repository, the post repository, but the post here says hello there. And so now the only thing that we need to do instead of logging that, it's say context.read, okay? And now we want to access the BLoC. So the BLoC is going to be our create post BLoC and add the method create post. And we need to give him the post, which is exactly what we are doing right here. And so with that, let's save that, perhaps reload our app and navigate to the post screen. Say, hello there, Romain here. All is good. And perhaps that's what we're gonna say. And we're gonna click on the button right there. And you'd see that we have loading and create post success into the console. So if we navigate to our Firestore project and refresh the page, you'd see that we have a new post collection right there with the post ID. Created that exactly now. My user is the user that created the post, so that's perfect. We have the post itself and we retake the ID right here. And so from now on, we can create post. So that's pretty much, that's very good. What we want to say here is wrap our gesture detector with a BLoC listener, okay, of type create post, and here create post BLoC, sorry. And we want to say if the state is create post success, we want to say navigator dot pop, okay? And that will ensure that when we press the button, the screen is popped, okay? So let's try that again. So let's create a new post. Hi, it's the second post here. So let's press that, and that's exactly what happened. And you can see inside the database, a new document was created. Hi, it's the second post here. Well, that's pretty much it for creating a post. Now let's get on with actually getting the post right in our home screen. So let's close all of that, collapse all of these. So navigate to the lib folder and first to the app view.dart. So here you see we're passing on a few different types of blocks to our home screen, but let me tell you that we are gonna pass another one, but that's gonna be the last one, I assure you. So another block provider, okay? But this time is gonna be, well, you've guessed it, it's gonna be So first we need the context, and then it's gonna be a get post block. Needs a post repository as well. So let's giving a post repository, Firebase post repository, and onto this block provider, we want to add a new event. Sorry, wrong place. Up right here. We want to add a new event, get post. And that's it. We can perhaps rebuild our app right now. Let's rebuild it. And we're pretty good so far. So now we want to navigate under the screens, home, and home screen. And right here, we're going to navigate, let me collapse that for you, onto the, let's go down because this is all for the app bar. And this is the list view builder that we have that builds exactly that. So here we want to wrap our list view builder with actually a block builder, okay? So it's gonna be of type get post block, okay? So far, very straightforward. And into the builder, we wanna say if the state is get post block success, well, we wanna return our list view builder, okay, that we have right here. And let me clean that up a little bit. Okay. So yes, we want to return our list view builder if we have the post success. And if there is a problem, let's say, oh, I've done it a little bit too much, sorry. Yes, up. And if there is a problem, we can just say else, and perhaps we can say else if the state is get post loading, we want to return a center child circular progress indicator, perhaps. And if, well, else, if there is really a problem, we want to return, let's say, a container, but we can just say center child text widget, an error has occurred, and make that a constant. So let me try to rebuild the app and see what happens. So let's say they say an error has occurred. Okay, so perhaps we have an error inside our method. So the item count right here is not going to be equal to 8, but to state.post.length. Okay, so let's rebuild all that and let me display the debug console because we have some sort of problem. So get post failure. And why is that? So perhaps we can see if there is some sort of errors when we rebuild everything. Okay. They directly say post failure. So perhaps let's check if everything checks out. So we are here in our app view and we are adding getting post. So let's navigate to the block, get post block. So we are getting a list of posts from the post repository get post method. So perhaps let's navigate to this method, which is under Firebase post repository. Get post is here. So the post collection, it's posts. Okay, so we're good. Get, then, and perhaps instead of printing this, we might want to log this. We want to actually print this. So we have perhaps a better view inside the debug console. I have no idea. Okay, so we access the post collection that we have. Okay, so then we're getting all the documents and then post entity from document, and perhaps this is where there is a problem. Perhaps it's because of the date time right here. Let me see if I just say that this is gonna be equal to datetime.now if there is a problem here, because we might have a problem here. Yeah, that's exactly the problem that we are encountering. Okay, it's easy, we can fix that. So how are we going to fix that? Well, let me show you. Instead of saying datetime.parse, which doesn't actually work, we want to say, right, so our doc created that. Let's delete all that. Doc created that. We're going to say as timestamp, okay? Timestamp, right? And wrap everything under these parentheses, okay? And say then to date, right? And now if I rebuild the app, inside our post entity.dart, we see that everything is working. Perfect. So we can collapse everything as well as the home screen. And here, let's display inside the post screen. Let's display onto our list view right here that we have. Let's display, it's not post screen, sorry, it's home screen. Exactly here. So list view builder, so we have the right length, right? Because if we navigate to our database, we see that we have 2 posts created and we have 2 posts right here. So that's pretty good. And then here, instead of having a red container, we want to actually display the user image. So we can reuse what we have right here. So inside our app bar right there. So the container, and navigate back down and use this container right here to access that. But here, instead of saying state.user.picture, we might want to say state.post and then say which post is it. So we're accessing E. Remember that in the item builder, you have the number, like the number of the item inside the list, and then say that we want the my user, and then we want the picture field. Okay, perfect. And if we save that, for instance, you'd see that everything's working. And we can copy that. And instead of here having rom, we want to have my user.name. Okay, very good. Why is it not working? Because it's a constant up. Let's move that away and replace that everywhere else. Save that. Well, you don't see any changes, but it's actually working. We'll work on the data a little bit after all that. And here, instead of having our lorem ipsum that we can actually delete, you're going to need to remove the constant as well. You want to display not the my user, but you want to display the post itself. And that's exactly what we have right now. And you might want to say that the text align dot left. And yeah, that's not making any difference because it's actually under the column right here, cross-axis alignment dot start. And yeah, that's pretty good. That's exactly what we want. So starting from now, we have one last thing to do, and it's to display the date. Okay, so let's display the date. But here you want to do a little trick to it, because if you just display the up post.created at, well, it's a date time, right? And you don't really like to work with date time, because if you just say toString, for instance, see how ugly it's going to be. Yeah, you don't really want that. What you want is actually format your your date time. And let me show you how you do that. So to do so, you're going to need to import the initial package. Okay, so let's navigate up to the very top here. And in order to import this package, we actually need to navigate to the web onto the pubdev.yaml file, and see here, we're going to actually import this package. So we take that, navigate to our pubspec.yaml file at the core, at the very root of our project, save the file in order to do a pubget. And here, normally, we should be able to have it. Yes. Okay, so let's navigate back down where we have our date time. I perhaps missed it. It's somewhere here. Yes, it's here. Okay, so what we want to actually display is a date format. So let's say date format. Sorry. Okay, and now we want what we want, the year. Okay, so the year, it's 4y dash the number of the month, and then the day. Okay, and then dot format, and our date is actually our created at. And if we delete that, okay, and save it, you'd see that we have exactly what we want. Perfect. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for our video onto how to feed the UI with the actual data from the database from the Firestore database. Here you see we have everything working. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll do a little summary of all of the thing that we've managed to create so far. Have a good day. Bye.